Dear journalists, we are going to continue our work, and then we are going to talk about the topic, the results of the sixth wave of mobilization. The speaker will be Oleksandr Pravdyvets, the speaker of the General Minister of Defense of Ukraine on mobilization issues. You have the floor, Colonel. Good afternoon, dear journalists. On the instruction of the management of the General Staff, I'm going to tell you today about the results of the measures associated with the sixth wave of mobilization this year. According to the order of President number 15/15 of this year, since 19th of July till 17th of August, for 60 days, we took care of the sixth wave mobilization. Owing to the mobilized resources during this period of time, we ensured rotation and dismissal or retirement of those servicemen who were mobilized during the third wave, and completing the units which were set up with the necessary equipment, munition, and transportation vehicles, and maintenance of the necessary level of the combat capability of those people who are in the A2 zone. And according to the percentage, we are talking about 60% of mobilization, about 80% of the officers, and the transportation vehicle more than 30%, according to the scheduled figures. As a result of mobilization, we actually managed to involve 70% of volunteers, 80% of the temporarily unemployed persons. Regarding the results of the mobilization this year, the positive achievements for the armed forces of Ukraine became introduction of the extraterritorial principle of mobilizing the necessary resources through the education establishments, units and organization after the training using this principle when forming the combat units. The uniform distribution of the resources depending on the number of mobilization. I mean, regarding the mobilization resources, number of population, etc. The compulsory military training in the special military units in the establishment institutions before they are distributed between the military units, and the involvement of the forces and the means for the repair and maintenance of the military equipment. And this was actually facilitate our task to mobilize them from the national economy. The major hindrances in our way to mobilize the population were the cases of trying to avoid the military service by not opening the doors of the apartments, moving to different places of residence and abroad, and leaving their place of work, etc. The percentage was 50–55% of such people. As a result of this, we found those who tried to avoid the mobilization in the amount of 28.8 thousand persons. The indicators of their inability or incapability for military service after the medical examination based on the result of the sixth wave is 61%. The decrease of the number of the volunteers who on their own or after being summoned came themselves to the military commissariats. We found the 2,500 such persons. This is the end of my report. Thank you very much for your attention. Are there any questions or clarifications?
Урядовий Courier newspaper. Tell me, please, if the plan is fulfilled by 60%, but it was planned to have 100%, so there's 40%. Will you catch up in the course of the seventh wave of partial mobilization? Well, according to the decree of the President from August 17, the calling for mobilization is over. So the legal basis to continue it, we don't have that. The difference between will be compensated through contracts with citizens, contracts for military service. Ukrainian Media Center, you told that more than 26,000 those who should be enlisted, they are trying to escape. How many of them, against how many of them court proceedings, and which case is already, how many cases are already in courts? At present, we have 5,811 suits, as a result of which they were brought to administrative responsibility, and almost 1,500 criminal cases. Article 336 of escape and mobilization. All cases that were started and with their court decisions, they are registered in the state register of court decisions, and you can get every case which is there. We have about 400 of such cases and other cases when people are brought to responsible at the decision of court, and they are imprisoned. Two questions. By regions, could you give us breakdown by regions, and also how much was spent for the sixth wave of mobilization? As to percentage, I can tell you one thing, that from 80 to 100% for in Dnipropetrovsk, and up to 40% of the task there is in Sumy, Zakarpattia, Odessa, Ivano-Frankivsk regions. As to money, funds used, how much did it cost to have this sixth wave of mobilization? And if you can give me a date for all the six waves. I don't have the data, and I'm not authorized to respond to that question. One last one, two questions to you. Last year, when during rotation, there were cases when people left on themselves, and do you have a reserve for complete rotation if the people are if there is not enough people? Yes, we called and they're trained in different units to fulfill the decree of the president to provide rotation by the middle of September. People who of those who were mobilized in the course of mobilization, and because of the movement of military men who serve not in ATO. One more question. You told that you'll compensate them with those on the contract. Other conditions? What will be the salary? What will be the social guarantees? There is the law of Ukraine, and we have such service, military service by contract, and we have it for several years. And we use it already, but under certain economic conditions. The state was not able to do that. We work to involve, according to the contract, to contract with the volunteers, who, with percentage, I told you that about 10% we have from each wave, and who go on a contract and who sign them, and they are respected, and they lead others after themselves, and people come to contracts and switch to contracts, so there's a big percentage of such. And at present it's not enough, but we have such, we hope that it will grow. The First National, tell me please if you know about the case in Kharkiv, Igor Paramonov, who was taken to the enlistment body office, and then they brought him to Kiev. He has bronchial asthma. He needs additional elements to medicine, and only after that they decommissioned him. How is the investigation? How did it happen? Who will be punished for that? The topic of our briefing is issues of summaries of this wave of mobilization. The question you asked, I know about that. And it was found that he was supposed to be mobilized he was supposed to be enlisted, and according at the decision of a medical commission, he was released because of the state of health and because of the disease, which is not related to military service. So during his mobilization, they committed some mistakes in diagnosing him and taking a decision whether he could be mobilized by district military commission. So that's why there will be investigation. And since mobilization is the competence of local administrations, and there will be measures taken according to the legislation. So how did it happen? They captured him on the street. Sorry, I responded to what I know about this case, but it's not the topic of our briefing. And there are people who are competent to respond to that question. We have one more question, Ukrainian, Anna Karpova. Now, social networks actively speak about the necessity to legalize payment for those people who don't want to defend their country. Ministry of Defense was not. Some deputies suggested to introduce such payment, because the Constitution of Ukraine says that the defense of the motherland is a duty of a citizen of Ukraine. And so according to the law, our citizens must serve. So our people are equal to the law, and so some people will be able to pay and others will not be able to pay. So, more questions? And did police help? Does police help to find those people who escape after Minister Avakov prohibited to do that? There was no direct prohibition. And we received some orders from Ministry of Interior, and they said that police is responsible for finding and for delivering those who want to escape mobilization only in the cases which are provided by the law. And what are the cases provided by the law or mentioned when the military committee informs the police, and then, according to the law, they receive all permissions from courts to arrest and to deliver those people who escape military service, delivering them to the military committees. There are such cases when police is not efficient in its work, so they did not interfere. And they were responsible only for public order during investigation or search operations to find those people.
And Zhishko, Channel 5, you mentioned that the plan was fulfilled over 50 or 60%. Can you give us the exact figures? No, this is confidential information. Cannot actually spill it. Any more questions or clarification? Yeah, we have one more. You mentioned about the work of the military commissariats. Do you consider the issue of restoration of the work of the military commissariats, which were united previously and they're reduced? You know, the decision has been passed regarding restoration in all the districts where the military commissariats were actually cancelled. Now they are going to restore it. We are looking about some of the reserves and the funds. And the persons who are going to be nominated as the military commissars, they are going to function in the nearest future in those district centers where they were removed from. And we are talking about the single register for the military those people who can be drafted, and this system which will help us to take care of the count and registration of all the people who have to be drafted. If there are no more questions or clarifications, thank you very much, Colonel. And this is the end of our working day for today, and please